What a weird game. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in the NBA where neither team was looking to win and were actually battling to lose, given they were both tied in the standings going into tonight and trying to improve their overall draft lottery odds. Now, it's very odd to me still that the Mavs, who had an opportunity to make the play-in, they were not out of the postseason going into tonight, chose to sit most of their starters, their key role players, as well as sit Kyrie Irving, and then only play Luka Doncic in the first quarter, effectively throwing in the towel on their season and saying, yeah, we could still make that last play-in spot. But at this point, we don't care. This season has been such a disaster anyway. Let's try and get the highest pick possible in the draft. And it's important for the Mavs, actually, because they owe their first-round pick this year to the Knicks unless it falls in the top 10, which now, after losing to the Bulls, are in sole position of the 10th worst record in the NBA, which would mean their pick has the best chance to remain there, as it'll likely land at number 10, unless, of course, it jumps in the top 4, which even then, in that event, they would get to keep the pick. That being said, though, there is still a chance, even despite the Mavs losing effort, that pick could, like one of those teams who finished 11 through 14, one of them could actually be the Bulls. If they jump up into the top 4 in the lottery, that would actually push the Mavs to, say, 11th or 12th, depending on how many teams actually get insanely lucky and move into the top 4. Again, very unlikely, but it has happened. I feel like it would only be fitting for the NBA to do something like that after the Mavs opted to miss the play-in to keep their pick, which is a bad look for the NBA when teams are just throwing games like that. It would be pretty hilarious if the Mavericks ended up falling out of the top 10, basically have Adam Silver tell Mark Cuban, don't do that shit again. But anyway, enough about the odd nature of how the Mavericks approached the end of their season and just straight quitting before they were even eliminated from the postseason. I mean, if you're the Bulls, you can't really be that happy about the way this game ended either. If you caught my video from earlier this morning talking about how the Bulls should really look to lose their final 2 games, as it would actually double their chances of keeping their pick rather than sending it to Orlando, and considering the Bulls already had the 10 seed locked in, would it matter if they won or lost? Yeah, winning the final games outside of maybe some nice moral victories doesn't really make sense for the Bulls because it lessens their odds of keeping their pick. I won't go into all of the percentage odds of the Bulls moving up into the top 4 based on where they finished this season because I covered that in that video and don't want to sound redundant here. You can check out that video from this morning if you missed it. But yeah, not a good win for the Bulls. It's what made this game even more odd because it was the first time in a while where I felt conflicted when cheering for the Bulls when they started making that run at the end of the game. Don't get me wrong, I still got excited, and there are positives to take away from this game, which I'll talk about, but yeah, it was the most conflicted I had been in watching the Bulls in a long time. Like seeing JaVale McGee hit a 3 in the first half, I actually laughed and almost got excited thinking the Mavs were going to blow their own plan and wind up winning this game. Or like when they hit that half-court buzzer beater before halftime. The guys were just messing around and almost cost them a win, which is weird to say that it would cost them a win. And then seeing Mark Cuban at the end of the game kind of smirking or breathing a sigh of relief almost when the Mavs were chucking up threes trying to tie the game at the very end, I'm sure man was sweating, worrying that his team was going to somehow end up winning this one. Anyway, you get it. The whole thing was just strange. I didn't like it. It's honestly something I can't stand about the NBA and the way the draft lottery is structured, where teams get to the point in the season where there is almost an incentive to lose. That even goes for the Bulls as well. And I don't want to have to cheer on my team to lose or be mad if they win a game. Like, what is that? Anyway, though, about this game, the Bulls rest DeMar DeRozan and Zach Lavine. Vucevic does play, but he didn't play much in the second half. Not really sure why Vucevic played, to be honest, considering he's played in every game this season. Maybe that was a request from Vucevic because he wants to be one of the few players who plays all 82 games. I don't know. It just seemed like it might have been a good idea to rest your starting center in a meaningless game. A center who was 32. It's not like he's 24. He had a solid game, too. Like, had Vucevic not played and started out the game so strong, Bulls probably are going to lose this one. But Vucevic, 20 points on 7 for 11 shooting, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Vuce is likely going to finish the season leading the entire NBA in defensive rebounds, by the way, especially if he plays on Sunday. He's really led that category for most of the season. But the impressive takeaway in tonight's game, which impressive is relative because guys were playing against a team's third unit for most of the night with virtually no pressure to win a meaningless game, so keep that in mind. But Coby White and Patrick Williams, huge games. I mean, we saw that last season with Pat in the final game against the Timberwolves, where the Bulls rested all their big 3 and their seeding was already established, so the game didn't mean anything. But Pat tonight, 23 points, 9 for 18 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3, doing step backs, posting up, fadeaway mid-range jumpers. Like, that's the Patrick Williams I want to see when it comes to games that matter. Now, it does make you question, hey, does Pat play like this because the games don't matter, and when the pressure's off, he does well? Or Is it because of guys like Zach and DeMar getting the bulk of the shots? Pat's development is actually being impeded with his limited shot attempts. 18 shots tonight for Patrick Williams. You would never see that in a game where Zach and DeMar are playing. Hell, even Vucevic can't get that many shots in a game. But not only 23 points, Pat was aggressive on both ends of the floor. He was skying high for rebounds, 8 rebounds in total. He also had 2 blocks and 2 steals, and was a plus 11 on the night. And then Coby White, man, played 42 minutes tonight. Not sure he should have played that many minutes. Would have been better to give him some rest too, because you're going to need him to actually play in the playing game. Maybe could have gone with someone like Carlik Jones or something, but either way, Coby balled tonight. Man flirted with a triple-double, 24 points, 11 assists, and 7 rebounds. Coby was 10 for 17 from the floor. It wasn't like he was just chucking up a bunch of threes. No, he was actually running the offense, being that floor general, making some nice passes, smart plays, using his ball handling to get into the paint to either score or get a pocket pass inside. Man, Coby has really turned his game around. For a guy we doubted for so long, has really become an impactful player for the Bulls, and I honestly wouldn't be shocked if the Bulls offer him an extension this offseason for a guy that I thought was for sure going to be traded before his rookie contract was up. I mean, outside of that, it was good to see Iowa get some run. He's kind of been falling out of favor when it comes to Billy Donovan's rotation, but obviously in a game like this, plays 38 minutes, 6 for 14, but he did also have 9 rebounds and 5 assists, 0 for 5 from 3. Iowa's really struggled with his three-point shot all season, when he was actually shooting it well in his rookie year, albeit on low volume. And then, hey, it was good to see some of the other guys, you know, you don't see very often get some reps. Dalen Terry, obviously, not the most efficient game, but good to see him out there and hustling. Terry Taylor had some nice moments as well. Carlik Jones with a couple of threes. I mean, like, there were some feel-good moments from this game, like seeing the younger guys bring some energy, getting the Bulls back into the game, and going on that run in the fourth quarter to take the lead. Gives them some development and confidence, and who knows, we might actually have to look to 1 or 2 of them to come in and actually help win in the playing game on Wednesday, which, by the way, 9-10 matchup has been set. We now know the Bulls will be playing the Raptors in Toronto, which is honestly the worst matchup for the Bulls because of how the Raptors are with their size, their tenacity on defense. Bulls have always had trouble against them, but the Raptors have also had their own struggles as well throughout the season. I just don't really have a ton of confidence going into that game, but I won't talk about that here. I'll obviously have a preview video on what to expect in the Bulls playing game, so be on the lookout for that. Until then, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.